Hi, and welcome to Police Beat. I'm your host, Captain Tom Merson. We've got a great show for you this time. We're going to have a very interesting discussion with the Supervising District Attorney of North County, David Howe. In addition, on Police Profiles, we're going to have an interview with Sergeant Jim Zabrowski about high-technology crime. So stay with us.
Hi, I'm Agent Curtis Jackson, and welcome to Traffic Talk. Drunk driving continues to be an area of great concern for the Palo Alto Police Department. Last year, we arrested 285 people for driving under the influence of alcohol or drugs. An arrest for DUI can cause a financial burden, will cause you to temporarily lose your driving privileges, and in some cases, you could go to jail. Now, for an inside look at a DUI investigation, let's join Officer Chris Hammett and police volunteer George Browning as they demonstrate the field sobriety test used by officers to determine if a driver is too impaired to legally drive a motor vehicle. Officers look initially for some kind of driving indication. In this case, we see the suspected drinking driver slightly weave and roll a stop sign. The officer will then effect a traffic stop, contact the motorist, and look for objective signs of alcohol or drug intoxication. Upon detecting either of these, the officer will ask the driver to perform a series of field sobriety tests. These tests may include line walking, finger dexterity, standing balance, and a portable breath tester. Depending on performance of these tests, the motorist will either be released or placed under arrest. Once transported to the station, the driver will be given a choice of taking either a blood or breath test. After processing, the motorist may be transported to the county jail and booked. An arrest for drunk driving will cost the arrestee several $1,000s in legal and court fees, increased insurance costs, and possible incarceration. Second and third offenses can land you in county jail or state prison. If you had a few drinks, think about a designated driver or a taxi ride. For Traffic Talk, this is Agent Curtis Jackson.
It isn't dramatic and it isn't violent. It doesn't conjure up the usual cops and robbers imagery. But more money is lost to fraud and high-technology crime than almost all other crime combined. Today I'll be speaking with Sergeant Jim Zabrowski, the Detective Supervisor of the Financial Crimes and High-Technology Unit of the Palo Alto Police Department. Jim, thanks for being here today. Jim, almost everybody, especially in this area, has a computer. And computer crime has become proliferate throughout society. I want to talk a little bit about that. And I want to start by talking about identity theft. We hear a lot about identity theft today. Can you describe what it is?
Yeah, identity theft is broadly referred to anytime someone obtains another individual's personal identifying information, such as their name, driver's license information, social security number, or bank account information, and then fraudulently uses that data for their own personal economic gain.
And how extensive is that problem, particularly in this area?
With the advent of the internet and recent trends in law enforcement, it's becoming one of the most serious crimes that's out there today, and the volume of identity theft crime is going up on a daily basis.
So for the Palo Alto Police Department specifically, about how many of these would we get on a, say, monthly basis?
Right now we're getting between 1 and 2 dozen individual cases every month that originate in our town, plus we get referrals from other agencies that take reports and refer them to us for investigation.
I see. Now, what can people do to prevent their being victimized by identity theft?
Well, the most important thing that people need to do is they need to safeguard their personal information, their wallets, their purses, their credit card and checking account numbers. We see a lot of these crimes occurred where people have their homes or automobiles broken into and their purses and wallets stolen. The criminals that commit these crimes can then go ahead and assume these people's identity by opening fraudulent bank accounts and ordering goods and services on the internet through fictitious names.
I see. There's also another area of computer crime. It's, I think, and correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe it's the most extensive, and that's auction fraud.
Correct. Currently, the Federal Trade Commission and several other organizations that track internet-related crime have indicated that auction fraud is the most prevalent type of fraud being committed on the internet right now.
And we've investigated a number of these crimes here in Palo Alto. There was a substantially large case back several months ago. I'd like you to talk about it if you could, and that was the Game Tech case.
Yes. We investigated a situation in which an individual had posted a fraudulent website and was advertising a variety of computer equipment, home DVD programs, and other PlayStations at a below-market rate. The person was able to get thousands of individuals to send them payments and credit cards, check and money orders, and then of course the goods and services were never delivered to those individuals who then reported the crime to our police department. This was interesting because we had to work with other state and local and federal agencies in that the actual website and the individual perpetrating the crime was down in Southern California.
So in this particular case, a number of people, and I believe it was right before Christmas, thought that they were going to get a special deal on Sony PlayStations, right?
That's correct.
And they sent their money in, never
Yes.
received anything, and
Correct.
the perpetrator or perpetrators, because I believe there may have been a couple, actually absconded with, I think, hundreds of thousands of dollars, right?
Yeah, we were able to verify that there were over 2,000 or 3,000 victims in this crime, and each one of them had doled out in excess of $200 or $300 apiece. The total economic loss was well over $500,000 in that case alone.
I see. I want to ask you about something that's of particular concern to parents, and that's child exploitation via the computer. Can you talk a bit about that?
Yes, the internet has allowed people to correspond with many other people in internet time, real time. And this can be done through chat rooms, news groups, posting on bulletin boards, and of course through conventional email. And we've found, as other agencies have, that a lot of people are out there using chat rooms and these various mechanisms to introduce themselves to minors with the intent of eventually meeting them and striking up a relationship with those people.
So what specifically can parents do to make sure their kids aren't victimized this way?
Well, parents should go ahead and monitor the websites that are being used by their children on the computers. They should go ahead and peruse the child's email account to see what correspondence is going back and forth. There are a number of commercially available filter systems that can be used to prevent computers from going to certain targeted web stations that might deal in child pornography or other incidents, other type of illicit activities.
I see. And those are software programs people can buy, correct?
Yes.
Okay. We're going to take a short break at this point, and we'll be right back after this.
Hi, I'm Officer Heather Akins of the Palo Alto Police Department, currently assigned to hiring and training. If you've ever thought about a career with the Palo Alto Police Department and law enforcement, now's the time to apply. With so many agencies, you may wonder, why Palo Alto? We offer a great 4-11 work schedule, which means you work 4 11-hour days and have 4 days off every week. We offer competitive salaries, excellent benefits, and have a variety of specialty positions to offer. But mostly, we have a unique group of people who are amazing to work with and learn from. If you think you have what it takes to be a Palo Alto police officer, call today for an application. Our number is 329-2601, or visit us on the web at www.papd.org.
Welcome back to Police Profiles. Jim, we were talking a little bit about computer crime, what kinds of computer-related crime there is, and there are some additional areas to talk about. What additional areas are there in terms of harassment on the computer?
We've seen incidents where people send threatening or harassing emails to other people or do what's commonly referred to as cyber stalking, trying to track individuals down via the computer.
Is there anything that people can do to prevent their being victimized in that way?
Well, if you are to give people out your email address, of course, then you could be subject to receiving these threatening emails. It's very important that you have the opportunity to change your email address. Be cautious with whom you give that information to. And of course, should you receive threatening or harassing emails, you should print out a copy of that and notify the authorities immediately.
Jim, how has technology changed the way that criminals perpetrate the same crimes that they've historically perpetrated?
It's really made it a lot easier and faster for people to do criminal activity. In the old days, people would have to go to a business, go to a store, meet with someone, order something that might take a great deal of time to arrive via mail. Now it can all be done online instantaneously. Credit cards can be applied for, goods and services can be purchased with a double click, and it occurs right away. The individuals are also able to remain anonymous because they're not having a face-to-face meeting with the victims of the crime.
Now, Obviously, we investigate these crimes. What other agencies also are involved in their investigation?
Well, we participate. We have a detective assigned to a regional task force that deals with economic and computer crimes that occur in the Santa Clara County area. And then there are many other federal agencies, such as the United States Department of Justice, the Federal Bureau of Investigation, Federal Trade Commission, and the United States Postal Inspector Service that do online criminal investigations.
Okay, well, let me ask you about that. So is it true then that in order to have those agencies involved, let's start with the county agency, would that typically be a larger scale computer-related crime?
Yes, typically at the local level we deal with crimes that occur in Palo Alto. If it looks to be a large crime with a huge dollar loss, a very intricate type of criminal activity that might take weeks, months, or years to investigate, we will oftentimes refer that down to the regional task force that has people specializing in that can devote resources to an investigation that may take 6 months or a year to conclude. And they also have people who work for the federal agencies assigned to them, so we have access to federal resources.
And when would a computer crime become a federal crime?
Anytime that the crime occurs and crosses the state lines, which frequently occurs because internet service providers are located at different parts of the country, or when the dollar value is so great that it meets a federal criteria for excessive taking.
I see. And because computer crime is so extensive, there has just recently been instituted an organization that's known as the National White Collar Crime Center, correct?
Yes.
And what do they do?
The National White Collar Crime Center works in conjunction with the Federal Bureau of Investigation, and they've become a national clearinghouse for internet-related fraud and crime. Basically, anyone that believes they're a victim of internet or fraud-related crime on the internet can contact the White Collar Crime Center. They then triage the cases, do a lot of the preliminary backup and investigative work, and then they farm it out to the local jurisdiction where the crime actually occurred.
I see.
They can also keep national statistics on trends for internet crimes.
Let me ask you this, and this is probably just a speculative question, but how many total computer crimes do you think we get in Palo Alto on a monthly basis?
We get several dozen cases every month that are related to computers, and the numbers are going up. A new law was enacted in January of this year that requires police agencies, regardless of where the computer crime and identity theft took place, to document that police investigation in their jurisdiction, and then we send it to the other agencies. We also get a significant amount of crimes done with internal thefts and embezzlements in which computers are used.
I see. So it's a burgeoning problem, it's an increasing problem, and we have the current adequate resources to deal with it, and we hope in the future that we get more. Would that be a safe thing to say?
Yes, we have 2 full-time detectives that deal with financial crimes, one of which we've sent to a variety of high-tech training seminars and computer investigative courses, and we'll continue to send our detectives to these courses to gain the experience and make the connections with other investigators so that we have the technology and experience to investigate these crimes.
Okay. Well, thanks, Jim. You've provided some real insight into this expansive field, and we appreciate it.
It's been a pleasure.
Thank you, Jim. We'll be right back after this.
Hello, my name's Karen McAdams, and I'm the Court Liaison Officer with the Palo Alto Police Department. My primary responsibilities include acting as the liaison between the Palo Alto Police Department, the Santa Clara County District Attorney's Office, and the Santa Clara County Courts. And today I'd briefly like to explain a little bit about what happens to a police report after it crosses my desk. A prosecution is requested by the police officers, and then it goes to the District Attorney's Office. Joining me today is David Howe. David is the Supervising Deputy District Attorney with the Santa Clara County District Attorney's Office, Palo Alto Branch, and he's been a Deputy District Attorney for 12 years. David, generally, when a report crosses my desk from a police officer, it's either in the form of a report written that they arrested a suspect, booked the suspect into county jail, or they are requesting a warrant of arrest, or they've given a criminal citation in a case. Can you explain, when I bring this case to the District Attorney's Office, the difference between the cases and how you handle those cases?
Sure. The first type of case that you mentioned is a case in which someone has been arrested and are in jail. Within the time limits of the law, we have 48 hours from the time that the person is brought into custody for us to review the case, to review your reports, to determine if a public offense has been committed, to determine if we can identify the person or persons who committed it, and to institute a proceeding by authorizing charges. At the end of that 48-hour period, generally 2 days, a little bit longer if the arrest happens over a weekend, the person has to be brought to court and has to be arraigned or brought before a judge and told formally about the charges and has an opportunity to enter a plea. The other potential situation that arises is when a case has been investigated, suspects have been identified, but they're not in custody. And so in those instances, we again review the reports brought to us by the police department to determine whether or not we should file charges. And then if we decide we will be filing charges, we include language in there which you as the court liaison officer signs requesting that an arrest warrant be issued so that the person can be brought before the court. The last option is when someone is cited or given a citation by the police officer and is told to come to court at a later date. In those instances, typically the charges that are on the citation are the ones we'll proceed upon.
Now, David, I think there's a little bit of a myth about actually who issues charges in a criminal case. I know the police department does not decide what charges are filed. We will often, based on the facts given to us, we will suggest charges to you. Could you explain just exactly what you do, obviously with our suggested charges, and if sometimes the victims think they press charges. I've heard, obviously people have heard that term before. Can you just explain that?
Sure. What typically occurs is that an officer will book someone on a charge. In other words, the officer will state within his or her report what crimes they believe were committed, and they'll book them into jail on those charges. Those are a guidance, but we're not bound by that. What occurs is that either myself or one of the other deputies in the office will review the police reports, will determine what charges, if any, should be issued, and then we authorize those charges. This decision to go forward or not is ultimately that of the district attorney's office. As you mentioned, sometimes victims and witnesses will call and will say that they want to press charges, or in some instances they do not want to press charges. They want to drop the charges. It's really not up to them. It is not their decision. We, entrusted with the public's interest, are the ones who ultimately have to make that decision.
Yes. And then when the district attorney decides to file a formal complaint, I then sign the complaint, take it to the clerk's office, which then sets the court process in motion. How many agencies does the Palo Alto branch of the Santa Clara County District Attorney's Office handle?
We have several law enforcement agencies that we work with. We have the city departments from Palo Alto, from Mountain View, from Los Altos. We also have the Sheriff's Office and the California Highway Patrol. And additionally, we have the Stanford Department of Public Safety, and also we get cases from the police department at the Department of Veterans Affairs.
And how many deputy district attorneys do you have working at the Palo Alto facility?
Presently, there are 4 deputies working on felonies, which are the more serious cases, including myself, and 3 deputies who work on misdemeanors, although they do share their time with the Sunnyvale Court facility also.
Well, I know I kind of kept some numbers between the months of October of 2000 and March of 2001. I know for a fact that we brought up roughly 700 cases for review by the District Attorney's Office, so I'm sure all those agencies keep you very busy.
Each of the attorneys is working very hard.
Well, we hope that we've helped inform our viewers a little bit today about what happens with a court case and what happens when a case goes to the District Attorney's Office for review. And David, thank you very much for joining us today.
Thank you.
This is Agent Sandra Brown with Crime on the Street. The fatal shooting of Maria Ann Schau is still under investigation, and the Palo Alto Police Department would like your help. On Sunday, June 10th at 12:20 a.m., Maria Ann Schau was fatally shot in front of the Q Cafe, a downtown nightclub on Elma Street in Palo Alto. There is a $45,000 reward for any information leading to the arrest and conviction of the person or persons responsible for this crime. Maria, a San Leandro native, was a computer digital effects student at the California Academy of Art College in San Francisco and an active member of the Bay Area Chinese Bible Church. If you have any information, the community is encouraged to call the tip line at the Palo Alto Police Department at 650-329-2190. This sketch is of a subject who is wanted for a sexual assault that occurred in Palo Alto on Wednesday, July 4th at 3 a.m. The subject is described as a black male in his 30s or 40s, 5'11", over 200 pounds, with short curly black hair, brown eyes, and a dark complexion. At the time of the incident, the subject was clean-shaven and wore a short-sleeved button-down shirt. The victim was sleeping on a chair in her living room when the unknown suspect held her down, kissed her, and touched her breasts. The suspect left with the victim's glasses and her purse. Douglas Michael Obujen was arrested recently by the Palo Alto Police Department for inappropriate behavior towards a juvenile. If your child has had contact with this person and there was some inappropriate behavior, please contact the Palo Alto Police Department. This suspect is wanted in a grab and run from the Shreve Jewelry Company at Stanford Shopping Center. The suspect entered the store, asked to see a diamond engagement ring valued at $26,000. The sales associate gave it to him, and he looked at it and said, "Excuse me," and ran out the front door. The suspect is described as a mixed-race male with close-cropped salt and pepper hair, clean-shaven, muscular build, and wearing a short-sleeved dress shirt. The property taken was a platinum ring sized at 6 and 6.5 with a round cut and 4 baguettes with a total weight of 2.4 carats. This is Agent Sandra Brown with Crime on the Street.
Hi folks, I'd like to introduce you to Stryker. Stryker's an 11-year-old Belgian Shepherd. And no, he's not a police dog. I got him 8 years ago at the Palo Alto Animal Shelter. The shelter has a lot of great dogs like Stryker. And not just dogs. They've also got cats, rabbits, birds, hamsters, guinea pigs, and even snakes. If you're a responsible person and would like to adopt a new friend, take a visit to the Palo Alto Animal Shelter and see what's available. The shelter is easy to find. It's on East Bayshore Road between San Antonio and Embarcadero.
Hi, my name's Pat Dwyer, and I'm the Chief of Police in Palo Alto. This month, I'd like to take a couple of minutes and share with the community what the police department is doing to provide advanced officer training to our officers. By way of background, the state of California requires that every 2 years, officers be given 24 hours of advanced training. We're almost doubling that amount of training here in Palo Alto, and it's one of the ways that we guarantee that we're going to be giving our community and our citizens the absolute best service we can by maintaining a high level of technical competence and training in our officers. We're involved right now in what we call a CPT course, or a continuing professional training course. And I'd like to share with you the topics that are included in that course. First, there's a program on dealing with the mentally ill based on the CIT program, or the Critical Incident Training from San Jose Police Department, whom we owe the original training to. We're presenting a course on elder abuse, on suicide by cop, on child abuse, on domestic violence, legal updates, a course on ethics that I'm teaching, handgun updates, defensive tactics, a tactical shotgun course, and a very interesting program on school violence. I'd like to share a little bit about what my experience has been in presenting the ethics course to our officers, and I'd like to share it actually because I'm quite proud of the response I'm getting in the class. I start off the class by asking the class to discuss the police scandals that have taken place in other cities like New York, Los Angeles, and Oakland. And then we get into a discussion of identifying why and how those scandals were allowed to take place. And then I move the discussion into the end of the class, where I actually ask our Palo Alto officers why it doesn't happen here. And the three responses that I am consistently getting in every class is because we have a community that won't tolerate it, we have clear expectations, we have good leadership, and we have an organizational culture that won't put up with it. That is better than any textbook answer that I could have presented to the class. And every class is coming up consistently with variations on those four themes. And I think it's an indication of the quality of the people we have and the quality of the service that we can give you. Thanks. I'll see you next month.
It takes talented people to create movie fires like this scene from Backdraft. But in real life, fire isn't such a pretty picture. So think fire prevention, because in real life, you write the script. A message from the International Association of Firefighters.
Hi, I'm Officer Heather Akins of the Palo Alto Police Department, currently assigned to hiring and training. If you've ever thought about a career with the Palo Alto Police Department and law enforcement, now's the time to apply. With so many agencies, you may wonder, why Palo Alto? We offer a great 4-11 work schedule, which means you work 4 11-hour days and have 4 days off every week. We offer competitive salaries, excellent benefits, and have a variety of specialty positions to offer. But mostly, we have a unique group of people who are amazing to work with and learn from. If you think you have what it takes to be a Palo Alto police officer, call today for an application. Our number is 329-2601, or visit us on the web at www.papd.org.
Thanks for watching Police Beat. Until next time, this is Captain Tom Merson.